Welcome to FPB's Meet the Candidates. This Cable 10 series allows you, the voter, to hear directly from candidates the issues that are important to them. This is all leading up to our primary election, which has begun now and goes until June 23rd. That's right, things are different this year as we're social distancing, so we're doing our interviews from different locations. This year, we have also taken questions from our social media and email. So we have a lot of interesting topics. So let's just jump right in here with our guest today. And he is Richard Sandifer, and he is running for Jailer. Hello, how are you doing?
Just fine. How are you?
I'm good. We'll just jump right in, and I'll just ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you have decided to run for Jailer.
Well, I think I'm the only candidate that's ever been elected to public office in this race. I've been elected 3 terms now as Franklin County Constable. I'm a successful business owner of Elite Performance on East Main. I've been in business 21 years next month. And I believe that the jail's a business, and I believe that with my experience, it'll be a big plus.
Okay, so the experience that you have as constable and with business, how do you think that helps you to be jailer? How does your skills transfer to what a jailer has to do?
Well, I believe as a business owner that, the jail's a business. It's been stated that it wasn't, that it was an infrastructure, but the bottom line is it's a business because they buy and sell products to make money. It's a business. And as far as a constable, I've worked with law enforcement for the past 8 years. I've built some partnerships with both local agencies. I've made some great friendships. And I think that with my experience in and out of the jail with law enforcement, I'd be a plus to the county.
Okay. For those who may not know, share with us what the responsibilities are of the jailer and what does the title jailer mean to you?
Well, I think that as far as the jailer himself, I think he's the administrator. I think the people that work in the jail are the ones that actually run the jail. And that falls back to the chief deputy. He takes the responsibility of making sure the jail's run efficiently, which would save the taxpayers money. But as far as the jailer's job, he needs to treat people in a fashion that all taxpayers should be treated.
Okay. So what do you think is the biggest issue facing Franklin County Regional Jail right now, and how would you propose to address it if you were the jailer?
The biggest issue, where to start on the biggest issue, the budget's a big crisis. I watched the budget hearings these past few weeks, and it's terrible. Everybody's got to try to save money, and I think that I've got some ideas on work programs that will save a bunch of money on the budget. The programs, I've just got to get some, and I'll have to work with the court system in order to get a few of the programs started and get them working. But I think that once we get it on plan and get it working, it'll work out fine.
Okay. So we have seen massive outbreaks of the coronavirus in other correctional facilities. What would be your plan to address the situation if there was a COVID-19 outbreak at the Franklin County Jail?
There's no doubt we'd have to quarantine. I think they've done a good job as far as not allowing visitors to come in. I think there's some issues on the acceptance of people getting arrested, because with the low numbers they have, they've got empty spots in the jail to quarantine people that may or may not have it. In order to find out, they could quarantine them out. As far as outside of the quarantine and in medical care, there's not a lot you can do.
Okay. Well, it has been noted that the inmate population in the jail has decreased to approximately 1/3 of the capacity, while the jail staff is at or near capacity. How would you address the issue to be more efficient while still ensuring the safety of the inmates and the staff?
Well, as far as the it should be a lot easier as far as on the staff right now due to the fact that the population is lower. It's wrong. It's a bad deal for the jail that they can't get the inmates out and work them right now. And it'll be a whole lot better once this whole virus thing's over. But as far as the staff, you shouldn't cut the staff just because the population's low due to the fact that they go out and get a job somewhere else may not come back. So you would not want to lose that staff.
Okay. What changes would you make to ensure that the jail's procedures and operations are compliant with Kentucky jail standards?
Well, the person I picked to be my second chair, chief deputy, if you will, we're working on rewriting some policies and procedures. Nothing's set in stone yet because we've got to get through this June 23rd first. Mm-hmm. And as far as the policies of the state, you follow the policy.
Okay. If elected, what steps would you take to reduce the risk of litigation by inmates?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. If elected, what steps would you take to reduce the risk of litigation by inmates?
Well, as far as lawsuits, the jail is a lawsuit magnet. There's no question about that. And it's going to happen. It don't matter who's sitting in the seat as jailer. But I think that there's a lot of ways to reduce that fact. One, you got to attend to the inmates. If they need medical care, give it to them. In the last 6 weeks, I've had at least 8 people contact me stating that they requested medical care in the jail and was refused it. You can't do that. I mean, if they need it, they need it. And they said, according to what I've been told, they didn't even get seen by the nurse. And them type things is going to create lawsuits.
Yeah, that was one of my questions that I had for you today is there have been several incidents, like you mentioned, at the jail that have required intensive medical services. How would you ensure that the medical program is adequate to meet the needs of the jail?
My understanding is we should have 24-hour medical care. I didn't understand what they said in fiscal court as far as it was on a news interview, said that we have 24-hour care most of the time. Well, either we got it 24 hours or we don't have it 24 hours. It shouldn't be off and on. If somebody needs medical care and you don't have a nurse on staff, then you need to take them to the hospital.
Okay. What is your plan to ensure the equal treatment of male inmates and female inmates?
It should be equal. There's no question. I mean, there's some things that I have witnessed myself while putting a person in the jail that I don't think is appropriate involving male and females. And there's certain things that I've got in mind to change. I don't want to speak of them here because I don't want to bring them out, but we've got a plan on fixing it.
Okay. As jailer, you will likely have to deal with the effects of the drug epidemic that we are seeing not only in our county, but nationwide. How will you ensure that the addicted inmates get the necessary critical treatment? And how will you ensure that inmates do not have access to drugs within the facility?
There's no question that we have a huge drug problem in Franklin County. And the drugs, it still baffles me how they get in the jail with the security of the jail. We can change some things. And I don't know if this had become public, but my understanding was there was a deputy jailer relieved of duty just this week due to bringing contraband in. And I've got a theory that once you stop the inmates from bringing it in, the work release inmates or the state, the state inmates that go out and work, then it brings it down to one problem, and that's employees. And we just got to come up with a way to stop that. If it means every employee that enters the jail to come to work goes through the body scanner, then that's what it'll be.
Okay. Well, what changes would you make in policy to hold inmates accountable for criminal activity inside the jail?
Well, I'm not sure what the jail policy is right now because I haven't got a copy of it yet. But as far as if there's criminal activity, they're going to be charged.
Yeah. You talked about programs that you have in mind. So what kind of innovative programming would you implement at the jail?
Well, I've talked to some local business owners. I have friends that run other type businesses, be it carpentry, construction, HVAC, automotive. And we've discussed the fact of, possibly getting a work detail started where they can come work with them, learn a trade, and that would help them when they get released. Hopefully they learn it well enough to make a career of it. And any one of them would make a great career, be better than some of the careers they have now.
Right. So, Governor Beshear has noted that the number of inmates incarcerated in Kentucky's aging facilities has increased 40% since 2004, and costs have increased $115 million to operate correctional facilities through fiscal year 2022. What are your plans to increase revenue but cut costs to the jail?
As far as revenue, there again, that's something we're working on, trying to figure out what to do. But we've got several plans and talks. Nothing's in works, obviously, but we're talking about 2 or 3 different plans that we believe will bring revenue in. And as far as cutting cost, some of the things I've gathered from people that have worked in the past and still do work at the jail, there's several ways to cut a wasteful cost.
Okay. If elected, what steps would you take to ensure that staff are properly trained to respond to emergency situations?
Well, as far as right now, I've got a fellow in mind to come in and be the training officer. He's a career police officer, and he's very experienced in the training and investigative side.
Yeah, for a lot of public offices, for people who are in public service, communication is key. How would you improve communication of information when you're reporting to the fiscal court?
Oh, I believe in open policy. My door is going to be open to any member of fiscal court, any member of the public. Mm-hmm. I'll be available to the citizens of this county, as far as fiscal court and the citizens, by phone, email, in person, one way or the other, they're going to contact me. And I believe that talking to the people that pay you is part of the job.
That's certainly true. So my next question was, as far as communicating with the public, a lot of times, your staff might be doing great things that the public doesn't know about. How would you make that information more available to the public to talk about the good work that the staff would be doing?
It would be published on the website of the jail, as well as, and this has been a big discussion with us, is it depends on time, but either a weekly or monthly report to the state journal. If the state journal fails to print it or otherwise refuses to print it because of whatever reasons, it'll go on Facebook. And I'm a firm believer in, if the public wants to come up, that's their building. If they want to come up and take a tour, schedule it, we'll do it.
Okay. Well, if you had to narrow it down to 3 things, goals that you would champion during your term, what are your 3 main goals that you would try to get done as jailer?
Reduce the budget, reduce the population of the jail, and honesty and integrity to the public.
That's great. So now it's your turn. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you look directly into the camera and tell people why you are the best candidate for jailer and why they should vote for you.
I believe that I'll do a great job as Franklin County jailer. I think I can save the taxpayers quite a bit of money. I have a plan of a central garage for the county, to have a garage that has someone run it, let the inmates work on it. It would save the taxpayers thousands of dollars on the aging fleet of cars that we own in this county. And I say we own, as taxpayers, we all own them. There's a work program that I have checked into in other states as well as our state, and they're working fine across the state, but we don't deploy them here. And I want to develop that and make it work with the inmates and hopefully teach them a different way of life instead of crime. And with my background and experience as a business owner and as an elected official in this county, I believe that I'll do an excellent job.
Is there any way that folks can find out more information about you?
They can go to my Facebook, Richard Sandifer for Jailer. Go to my personal Facebook. I put quite a bit on there about it. Richard Sandifer is on Facebook. That's where they can contact me. They can contact my shop. You know, a lot of people know where it's at. My personal cell number is 382-7467. Anybody wants to contact me to find out information, call.
Well, there you go. It's out there.
Yeah, it's all over anyway.
Well, Richard, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me today, and I know the viewers appreciate it as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, let me remind you that voting is different this year. So we have already started. So you need to go online to govoteky.com to request your ballot, and then be on the lookout for the information of up-to-date changes in our voting procedures this year. I know the county clerk's office and Cable 10 are putting out a lot of information to remind you of all the different ways you can vote this year. And it's time. It is election season. So you need to get informed and decide who you want leading our city, and particularly running our jail here at Franklin County Regional Jail. So get informed, voice your choice. And that's it for us on this edition of Meet the Candidates. We'll see you next time. Thanks.